Welcome back to another edition of NAAFS Cage Fighting. I'm Ryan Cavanaugh. As always, my partner John Sturmack. We've got some great action coming your way, headlined by Tom Waters and the returning Cleveland favorite, Torrence the Tyrant Taylor.
And for those fans that know Torrence the Tyrant Taylor, and for those who don't, look out, because tonight you are going to see axe kicks and spinning wheel kicks and all kinds of craziness from Torrence. He loves to put on a show. I expect tonight to be no different.
For that fight and many more, stay tuned. Here comes NAAFS Cage Fighting.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is brought to you by Tim Lally Chevrolet and also John P. Lennon. 3 rounds in the NAAFS Amateur Series Heavyweight Division. And now, introducing fighting out of the John P. Lennon red corner. This fighter is undefeated with 3 wins and 0 defeats. Standing 6 feet 2 inches tall, weighing 260 1/2 pounds, representing Buckeye Training Academy, fighting out of Mount Gilead, Ohio, Nick Stuff. And now his opponent, fighting out of the Intimidation Clothing blue corner. This fighter's MMA record sits with 5 wins and only 2 defeats. Standing 6 feet 2 inches tall, weighing 262 1/2 pounds, representing Fearless Fight Team and the Wrestling Factory Cleveland, fighting out of Cleveland, Ohio, Wyndham Craig. Your referee is Jerry Chris.
Heavyweight action, Wyndham Craig 5-2 in the black trunks. Nick Stuff comes in at 3-0, black trunks, camouflage trim. More appropriate, the beard by Nick Stuff. And he may need it here the way Wyndham Craig throws his punches.
Yeah, you see in the corner, Wyndham Craig, right off the bat.
Big left on Craig is another big right uppercut by Wyndham Craig, just misses. And Nick Stuff wisely pushes him up against the fence. A knee by Stuff. The 2 fighters separate.
That was what I was wondering at the beginning. Is Nick Stuff going to try to close this gap and try to get him to the ground and use what appears to be some pretty decent jiu-jitsu?
Right away, the thing that stands out is Craig holds his hands much lower than Wyndham Craig. Wyndham Craig almost a traditional boxing stance, hands around his ears. And there's some good body work by Wyndham Craig. Nick Stuff pushes him back. Looking for a single leg. He's got an ankle pick.
Looking for that single. He doesn't quite have it. His head needs to be up a little bit. Now pushing. after receiving some strikes from Wyndham Craig, he's going to put his head even lower. It's going to make this takedown all the more difficult. He somewhat gets it. Let's see if he can finish.
He's got to get the overhook. There it is, and he's got to take Wyndham Craig down. Almost does, and he does complete it finally, and he's in half guard. Left hands. Wyndham Craig is in a difficult situation here because he's pinned up against the cage. A lot of fighters prefer the position Nick Stuff has, which is half guard. You can actually hold one of the bottom half of Wyndham Craig's legs down and keep him in that position. With the fence, it's almost another opponent. This is going to be difficult for Wyndham Craig to get out.
And you know, this is the thing that fighters debate about. Is it half guard for the guy on bottom, or is it half mount for the guy on top? Because it's one, depending what you do with it and where you're covered. And a lot of guys like to strike being on top and half guard.
I'm going to listen to the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu people who call it half guard. And Nick Stuff.
He's going to town, and he's right in his corner.
And he's got Wyndham Craig's left arm pinned down. As you can see, he's holding his left arm behind. I'm sorry, that was his.
And he's right in the corner, and more importantly for Wyndham Craig, Frank the Tank Carabello and Marvin Williams, two great coaches. You know, he may not be able to hear those guys all the way across the cage.
Wyndham Craig posting up on his hand, but taking free shots to the face and not using that explosive power. There's some explosion. He's got to explode out of that position and get back to his feet, and there he does.
He does. It's short time left. Let's see if he could do, you know, see if he can end this thing, because there's no doubt right now, unless there's something wild happens, this is
uppercut.
This is Nick Stuff's round.
And a left and a right by Nick Stuff.
And Nick
a couple more uppercuts. Wyndham Craig takes a left to the face, and the big boys are throwing. We got Wyndham Craig with a good body shot into round one.
Nick Stuff, I got to tell you, walking back to his corner, looks positively exhausted.
Well, he expended a lot of energy trying to finish Wyndham Craig there. I mean, Wyndham Craig is a big man to hold down, punching down. He expended a lot of energy. And it's only 3 fights. This is a bigger stage than any of those 3 fights took place on also.
Yeah, and the other thing for, you know, if the fans watching at home, one of the things that's at least playing with me is the sun is setting, and it is coming right down on this cage. It's A, right in my eyes, and B, it's heating these guys up even more than the temperature, although we have a relatively cool night here on the shores of the Cuyahoga River.
Well, for people who have not been in the cage before, the lights over top that are coming down make it hot already. For guys who are carrying 260 pounds, they're in there grappling. Now you add the sun as another factor. That's a warm cage, and it's going to use up some of that gas tank that they start with, the conditions and the elements outside.
I was lucky enough when I fought at Rock and Rumble, I was on the latter part of the amateur portion of the card, and it was pitch black, and I was like, phew, thank God, 'cause it was a nice evening.
Was it a nice winning or a nice losing evening, John?
It was a nice winning night. Sean Barnett, the opponent, game opponent, and young guy, hope he's doing well.
Here we go for round 2. Wyndham Craig, black trunks. Nick Stuff, black trunks with the camouflage trim and the beard, pushing Wyndham Craig up against the cage. And we'll see, you know, when you get that break, and if Nick Stuff was tired, like you mentioned, we'll see how long he can keep this pace up here. There's some blood underneath the right eye of Nick Stuff, and Wyndham Craig is going for the knockout. Stuff answers with the right. A knee by Wyndham.
And Wyndham's looking for it. He is throwing leather, and Stuff looks exhausted.
Oh, he's landing too. He's landing, and Stuff shoots for the takedown out of desperation, if nothing else. But Wyndham Craig has really almost a seatbelt holding Nick Stuff in place.
Nice.
Looking to take his back, and Nick Stuff reverses position, but not enough, doesn't have enough gas to finish it.
I agree 100%. That looked like an arm drag from Stuff, where he was able to trap Wyndham Craig's arm and roll him, but he just didn't have enough to switch his hips and get back on top. And the question now is, how gassed is Nick Stuff?
Well, there's an uppercut. Wyndham Craig, now all Wyndham Craig has to do is pick his spots and find where he can get those punches in. Nick Stuff, I don't know if he's trying to get back to his feet and using the cage to do so. And a nice cut has opened up around the right eye of Nick Stuff, and Wyndham Craig's going to tee off from this position.
And you can tell Stuff is just exhausted.
He's got just over half of the round left.
Wyndham lets him up.
Oh, a right hand by Stuff connects, and there's a knee.
Oh, and big uppercut. Both guys are just throwing. Wyndham Craig, these guys are throwing.
Uppercut by Craig, just misses. Wyndham Craig teeing off again. Oh, he lands one, and Stuff does not go down.
What a jaw. But I think this is going to be the end.
He is exhausted, and Gary
done.
Chris steps in. Wyndham Craig with the finish.
Yep, and I got to tell you, Nick Stuff, I mean, you combine exhaustion with the power of Wyndham Craig, that's a bad combination.
Wyndham Craig, to his credit, throughout the fight, continued throwing hard. He was not exhausted, just flailing arms out there. He was actually delivering punches with some power, and enough power for Jerry Chris to step in and stop the beating that Nick Stuff was taking. Credit to Nick Stuff.
Yes, absolutely. Coming in here 3-0. I mentioned, what kind of wins were those? Were they against, maybe guys of less? Absolutely not. He has proven he deserves to be back in the NAAFS.
Well, that was a very good test. I mean, Wyndham Craig moves his record to 6-2. Has been in with some of the best heavyweights around. And we'll see now if Wyndham Craig's ready to take that next step up. But certainly Nick Stuff is a guy I'd like to see some more of in the NAAFS cage.
And without question, with his performance tonight, maybe one more fight, maybe not, but we could see him in October at the semifinals for the heavyweight amateur division, because he is definitely a force to be reckoned with.
Certainly. Well, let's send it up to Jazz with the official announcement.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Jerry Chris has seen enough and stopped this fight at 2 minutes and 12 seconds of round number 2. Officially a technical knockout due to strikes, and your winner, Wyndham Craig.
Staying here with your winner, Wyndham Craig, moves up to 6-2. Fearless Fight Team Wrestling Factory. It all came together. Beautiful fight. Let's talk about it.
Well, I knew he was a wrestler before I came in here. And my whole game plan was to stay back, keep him a jab, keep him a distance and score those big punches. It seemed like no matter how many hard jabs I threw, he still got in. But it's all that training with my boys at the Wrestle Factory in Cleveland. They got me through that one. My man Marvin Williams, and I'm a jiu-jitsu guy. There's everything there is to know about fighting. So I saw him out. This is a hard victory for me. I'm glad I could win here in my hometown.
Well deserved. You appear to be positioned very well for the Amateur Series semifinals. What's next for you?
Honestly, nothing. This is it for me. This is my last fight. It's hard for me to make that decision, but I wore this armband down to the ring today. He's my brother. He passed away in February, and this meant a lot to him. This meant to me, but after this, everybody, I love you. I know you're here with baby.
You said it all, man. Congratulations. Give it up for your winner, Wyndham Craig! More NAAFS stage fighter coming right up.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is brought to you by Suavecito Tequila and also Discount Drug Mart. 3 rounds in the NAAFS Amateur Series Female 125-pound division. And now, introducing fighting out of the John P. Lennon red corner. This fighter's MMA record is perfect with 2 wins and 0 defeats. Standing 5 feet 4 inches tall, weighing 117 1/2 pounds, representing Power of One MMA and fighting out of Binghamton, New York, Rebecca Heinzman. And now, her opponent fighting out of the Intimidation Clothing blue corner. This fighter's MMA record sits at 4-4, standing 5 feet 3 inches tall, weighing 120 pounds, representing Instigator Fight Team, fighting out of Canton, Ohio, Rhonda Gale. Your referee is Jerry Chris.
Ryan Kavanaugh, along with my partner John Sturmack, we have 125-pound women's MMA action. Rhonda Rowdy Gale in the black with white Instigator trunks, and Rebecca Heinzman with the black and the green belt trim. John, what can we expect out of these two ladies?
As we mentioned at the outset, Rhonda, she comes in here 4 wins, 4 losses. That's a lot of experience. And we mentioned, some of her losses, including to my future ex-wife, Sarah McLeod. She brings so much experience. The question is, will the younger, by 11 years, will the younger Rebecca be able to deal with that experience and try to get her 3rd victory?
Well, Gale right now is pushing the pace, taking Heinzman up against the cage, and Heinzman staying very relaxed, which is a good sign for someone with only 2 fights of cage experience. And now Heinzman is the one pushing the pace, has Gale up against the cage, and is looking to complete a double of her own. And look at the technique, wrapping her left leg around the right one of Gale, and then pulling the other leg out, trying to get her to the ground, and there she goes for it again.
She almost had it, but the fence saved Rhonda. Big takedown, beautiful double leg, right to crossbody position. That's how it's taught.
And what she did was every time Gale would stop her takedown, she readjusted lower until finally she was around the back of the knees, was able to clinch the hands and hoist her for a ride.
The only thing I didn't like, her hips were too high, and Rhonda was able to get her guard back real quick. I mean, when you get a takedown like that right into side control, you got to keep that.
And Gale with a butterfly guard on one side, half guard on the other. Is she going for a switch?
I think right now, we have Rebecca's in half guard on top, and for me, this is a great place to strike. I like this. I know there are a lot of sweeps from half guard on the bottom, but if you keep your hips real low and tight to your opponent, you can get off anywhere from 8 to 10 shots and then keep trying to make the pass.
Well, there's a lot of space now, as evidenced by Rowdy Rhonda being able to get her hand or her leg in between.
And she's just trying to get back to full guard, which she does. And Rebecca kind of lets her up a little bit, and not really exactly sure what was going on there. But here she comes. She's almost got like a standing. She's going to snap her down.
Snap her down. Yep, sure.
Is she going for an anaconda here?
But she's got it. She lets go of it. She had to reach further and get her hand on her own bicep, and instead she takes the back of Gale.
Well, right now it is
she goes.
Beautiful jiu-jitsu.
Heinzman really is showing a well-rounded ground game here.
And they said, her coach said she's at a very high level of jiu-jitsu, albeit only doing it for 3 years. She really practices her craft. And you can see right now where her jiu-jitsu is dominant right now and doing a great job healing the thighs of her opponent.
Very active, and that's going to leave an impression on the judges as we head to the end of round 1. Well, John, are you impressed with Heinzman's ground game?
No, I'm blown away with it. Absolutely. For somebody with 2 fights, she, when her coach said she's at a very high level jiu-jitsu and said only 3 years training, but she really works at it, I was going, maybe I'm a little bit skeptical.
Yeah.
But very, very, very impressed. And you look at her in the corner, she's not breathing heavy, hasn't even taken her mouthpiece out. Meanwhile, Ronda is on doing the
human stool.
Yeah, the Evolve MMA that's patented by Evolve. Well, as we go into round 2, I mean, there's no question that was Rebecca's round. What does Rowdy Ronda Gale need to do to turn the course of events?
Well, what happened was she lost the clinch game. She had Heinzman up against the cage. She got reversed and then taken down. So what Gale wanted to do was implement a similar game plan, but one of her own. The question in my mind, John, would be, does she want to take Heinzman down to the ground based on the jiu-jitsu game she was able to feel from Rebecca Heinzman? Because Rebecca Heinzman was threatening in numerous situations, threatening submissions on Ronda Gale.
Right now, as we look at Rebecca, and then over at Jerry Chris, you know, her corner, she's got, albeit in a loss, you know, Antonio Castillo Jr. was up for the NAAFS featherweight professional title, and there's no doubt he's given her great instructions. But just as we say that, Rebecca, just like round 1, closes the distance and pushes her up against the cage.
Ronda Gale in the black trunks, Rowdy on the back. Rebecca Heinzman with the black trunks and green waistband. Once again, the girls clinch, and it's Heinzman looking for the takedown.
Ooh, and that is technically now illegal. It used to be amateurs were allowed to elbow the body. They are not now. I'm surprised, A, Jerry Chris didn't warn her about that, and more, B, straight up take away a point.
There's Heinzman is very active in the clinch. A lot of people, and we've seen it already on this card, they're so concerned about getting the takedown, they forget about the striking action.
Boy,
Heinzman has her rocked from that right hand and one to the body, mixing it up.
And if she could have kept throwing uppercuts, there's no doubt Ronda was rocked on that, because Heinzman stepped back through a beautiful right hook.
Right now, Gale is having trouble. Look at Heinzman off the break, a right and a left.
Separate. Oh, don't worry about this takedown. You're winning the clinch battle. Get a little separation and start throwing uppercuts. I mean, that was her key, but she wants this takedown.
Similar situation as last round. She gets her up, she takes her for a ride, plants her on her back towards the middle of the cage, and this is where Heinzman is most comfortable, John.
Right now, Ronda's in butterfly guard, looking for an elevator sweep, but it's probably not going to happen. She tries it, but it doesn't work.
Very similar, half guard, flips her hips around. See now, Heinzman, amateurs, she cannot throw the elbow from that position, not to the head.
Nor the body, for that matter.
As you pointed out, the new rule change.
Which always strikes me a little odd. You can knee the body, but you can't elbow the body.
And that strikes you. How's that?
Yeah. Start with your knee to the heavens and hit the floating ribs, but don't elbow that chest.
Right. Heinzman here is, again, very impressed with the maturity in the ring from Rebecca Heinzman, as you see how patient she is. She's doing what a lot of coaches would tell you is most important. That's establish position and then attack offensively with strikes.
The only thing is her hips were too high once again, just like the first round, and now she's able, Ronda's able to get back to guard, but looks like she's going to just throw those legs to the side and able to take
back. She takes Gale's back. Gale tries to turn into her.
She's got that rear naked.
She's got the. She has it
not
under.
Quite deep enough, I don't think.
But what she did is she gave up her back. There's the 10 seconds. She's got one hook, and
then
there's
she
the tap.
does have it deep enough.
Rebecca Heinzman, rear naked choke submission at 1 minute 50 seconds. 2 minutes 50 seconds of the second round. Very impressive showing by Miss Heinzman.
And moves up to 3-0. Very, very impressive. You know, we mentioned, you see some fighters, we've had this discussion all night. On which side of the scale do they fall? Have they fought lesser opponents, or hey, I can only fight who's been put in front of me? There's no doubt. She can only fight who's put in front of you, and getting a decisive victory over Rowdy Ronda Gale tells me a lot, because Ronda is no slouch whatsoever.
That's a tough, experienced opponent, and Heinzman came in, looked proficient on her feet. Her clinch game was excellent, and the best part of her game her ground game, which ultimately got her the submission victory. And that wasn't the first time she was threatening submissions in that fight, John.
No, she looked great. As you mentioned, she came in with a game plan, put her up against the cage, get that takedown, and do what she does, and she did it.
Yeah, excellent showing from Miss Heinzman. And let's make it official and send it up to Jazz with our winner.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight ends with a tap out due to a rear naked choke at 2 minutes and 53 seconds of round number 2. Your winner, Rebecca Heinzman.
I'm standing here with your winner, Rebecca Heinzman, moves up to 3-0. Beautiful jiu-jitsu. The takedowns were fantastic. Let's talk about that fight.
She's a tough opponent, a lot of experience, so I knew she was going to know what to do coming out here. She's had plenty of fights to be prepared, and I just knew that I had to push my game on her, and that's what I did, so I'm pretty happy.
Well, your jiu-jitsu was spectacular. I know school's starting back up. You're a PhD candidate in biology out of Binghamton University. What's next for you?
I want to be a professor, and I mean, if fighting can fit in with that, or maybe even, you know, make some money and take over, I'd have no problem. I didn't say that, Mom.
Well, soon to be doctor, who would you like to thank?
I'd like to thank everyone at Power of One MMA in New York, great training team there. I want to give a shout out to my dad, he's watching live in Oregon, so thank you NAAFS for streaming events so my parents can be a part of it too.
Well, we hope to have you back, and good luck in that PhD program. Give it up for your winner, Rebecca Heinzman. More NAAFS cage fighting coming right up.
Next up, lightweight action as we have Tom Waters versus Torrance, the Tyrant Taylor. Let's send it up to Jazz.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next fight is brought to you by Suavecito Tequila and also Bud Light, the sure sign of a good time. Here we go. And now, making his way to the cage, please welcome Tom Waters.
Well, John, Tom Waters, Tom the Bomb from Warrior MMA, 30 years old. Coming from Newmarket, Ontario, Canada. He's got going to have his hands full with Torrance Taylor.
Without question, not only is Torrance Taylor one of the most respected MMA fighters in Northeast Ohio, in the state, in the region. He is coming off of 2 straight losses, and he needs to rebound, and he's going to have his hands full tonight. But you get a win over Torrance Taylor, and all of a sudden, you're going to be invited back to the NAAFS again and again and again. We see that the NAAFS really is a feeder system for Bellator and to a lesser degree the UFC. I mean, where we have sent guys like Jason Dent, Donnie Walker, Forrest Petz, Stipe Miocic. I mean, that's the biggest name of all. But Tom Waters comes in here, really likes to swing hard. He does have a number of TKOs behind him. He also has a couple of submission, rear naked chokes, and a decision win here or there. So, you know, the thing with Torrance is Torrance hasn't fought since April of 2011, and before that, August of 2010. Took some time off to school, got his degree in economics. We'll talk more about him in a minute, but Tom Waters, the key for him tonight, you've got to have opportunity on the brain. Can you seize it?
And now, making his way to the cage, please welcome his opponent tonight, Torrance Taylor.
Torrance Taylor, longtime fighter in the Cleveland area and NAAFS, comes in with a 10-7-1 record, Rising Dragon fight team out of Cleveland. He's a Strikeforce veteran, he's a Bellator veteran, and we welcome him back to the NAAFS.
Absolutely, as we mentioned earlier, took some time off after a win. Now get this, his last win in April of 2011 was against none other than Kyle Baker, who is the current NAAFS welterweight champion. So Torrance can fight at 55 or 70 and make no bones about it. He is one of the most feared strikers in the Midwest.
Strength of schedule has been a theme all night, and Torrance, the Tyrant Taylor, may have the most difficult fight records on the card. He's fought Kyle Baker, he's beat Shoney Carter, he lost to Fabricio Combs, he's beat the UFC's Little Hulk, Luke Cadillo, Junior Sunsao, Jason Dent, he lost to Joe Hyland. I mean, it's a who's who of MMA that Torrance the Tyrant Taylor has fought.
Absolutely, and as we take a look at our Tim Lally Chevrolet tail of the tape, you can see what's up there for yourselves at home. But my, oh my, just to take a step back in NAAFS history, back when we still had the message boards, oh my Lord, Torrance versus Dent, to me, still the single greatest fight we have ever had in the NAAFS, and that's just my opinion.
Yeah, that was a 5-round decision, split decision for the title. So that also tells us not only has he fought some of the top talent nationally, but he has gas for 5 rounds. Let's send it up to Jazz for the official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is brought to you by Suavecito Tequila and also Bud Light. 3 rounds in the NAAFS Professional Series Lightweight Division. And now, introducing fighting out of the John P. Lennon red corner, this fighter's MMA record sits at 4-3, standing 5 feet 10 inches tall, weighing 163 pounds, representing Warrior MMA, fighting out of Newmarket, Ontario, Canada, Tom the Bomb Waters. And now his opponent across the cage, fighting out of the Intimidation Clothing blue corner. This fighter's MMA record sits at 10-7-1, standing 5 feet 7 inches tall, weighing 162.5 pounds, representing Rising Dragon MMA, fighting out of Cleveland, Ohio, Torrance the Tyrant Taylor. Your referee is Jerry Chris.
Tom the Bomb Waters from Warrior MMA in Ontario, Canada, in the white trunks with black trim, and Torrance Tyrant Taylor from here in Cleveland, red trunks, black trim. Ryan Cavanaugh along with John Sturmack.
We are set for 3 5-minute rounds here in the NAAFS cage. And watch out, folks at home, Torrance has been known to finish quick.
Finish quick and in spectacular fashion. You'll see axe kicks, a lot of spinning, and a lot of unorthodox strikes. People always talk about wanting to have fun in the cage. That's what Torrance Taylor does. And Tom Waters right away clinches up, puts him up against the cage. Going for an ankle pick takedown, and Torrance pulls him right back up. Switches to the single leg on the opposite side.
And one of the things that Torrance's game over the years has really progressed, he's not known as a ground guy. And one of two ways, if you're not a ground guy, to be a better ground guy is either A, work at stopping takedowns, B, work at getting up once you've been taken down, or C, your jiu-jitsu. And Torrance has really done all three.
Yeah, he has evolved in that manner as a fighter. He's not a guy who is going to rest on his laurels and his strength, which is striking. He understands that that was an area where he was more deficient, and he has patched up those holes. And you see him right there, as you mentioned, I think it was B, pop right back up to your feet. A knee from Taylor. Tom Waters wisely keeping the pressure, pinning him up against the cage. A nice reversal by Torrance, only for a moment as Waters puts him back. People talk about the effectiveness of the people you train with. Tom Waters, one of the UFC originals, Carlos Newton, trains out of his gym. So he's been in there every day in the gym with some of the best.
And right now, Torrance has got a nasty tie clinch on him, and that's going to be that could be a lot of trouble. And he did the right thing, timed it perfectly, because there could have been a knee coming up there, and Torrance was able to come in, or excuse me, Waters was able to come in, change levels, and start working for a takedown.
Hey, Torrance, on that tie clinch, you really got to squeeze your forearms together to prevent Waters from dropping like that and grabbing a single, which is what Waters did, and it was enough to get out of it. But Torrance doing a nice job on the cage, bringing him back up. Waters pushing him up against the cage again, looking for the clinch, looking for the takedown.
Torrance, I was going to say, right now, Waters is doing his best to make this a boring fight, and sometimes that's the way you got to beat Torrance. Because if you're going to stand on the outside and swing, as you mentioned earlier, you got axe kicks coming at you, flying back fists. One of my favorite things Torrance ever did, threw a big right hand, missed it, the guy slipped, came back with the elbow and caught him.
Sure, Matrix.
Nice knee.
Torrance Taylor now, head kick, off the break, head kick, spinning back kick to the head.
It almost looked like a spinning hook kick. It came at such an angle.
Yeah, and Waters catches it and is able to take Torrance down. And let's see if Taylor can get back up to his feet, and he looks like he's going for it. He goes for a double leg of his own, trying to switch positions.
And I think he did the right thing because he put him up against the cage.
There's a takedown for Taylor. Waters on the ground. Waters pulls full guard.
Got his legs nice and high.
And Taylor's going to stand up. Taylor falls back into his guard. Waters is threatening with submissions. You'd think Taylor wants to just get up off this position and get back to vertical. But he lands a nice elbow there.
And I look right now in his corner, Taiwan Howard's his brother, screaming at him. Throw those elbows, throw those elbows.
And you see him just light elbows, pushing down with pressure, but connecting, scoring points. He's now in half guard, which is a good position.
Good position to strike from.
You're right, his corner's telling him to keep this position. Waters not doing a very good job of stopping those elbows. Now he switches over and moves his head to the other side.
And when we go in between rounds, I got a story about Torrance that will, for people that think that this sport is nothing but a bunch of guys that like to fight and have no brains, I got a quick story for you.
Torrance Taylor working the knees to the body, the elbows upstairs. Nice job of mixing up the strikes and keeping pressure on. He's not just, he's not happy just sitting on top of him in this position. He's looking to finish the fight.
And this is where Torrance is so dangerous.
Torrance Taylor faked the axe kick stomp and went in with the left hook, missed it, but still stays on top.
This is where Torrance is incredibly dangerous these last 30 seconds. He rarely ever gasses out, and he finishes strong.
Well, and the other thing is he can do some of those more unorthodox techniques without having the fear of being caught in a bad position for minutes and minutes on end.
There's few guys, I think of Nick the Savage Duel, Taiwan Howard, Torrance. Those are guys that took the point karate and were able to translate that to the cage.
Certainly. Taylor working to prevent the takedown. There was the head kick. It got through in the slip. You're right, it's like a spinning wheel kick. And that enabled Waters to get him down for the first time, but Taylor did a nice job of switching that position up.
And where that helps Torrence, you know, being so unorthodox and you never know where something's coming from, is also sometimes a little bit of a downfall because you throw that wheel kick, it doesn't quite land, and here we come, and now you're getting taken down.
Right, oftentimes, if you go for a big energy, big impact move like that, the result, if it doesn't land, is you're on your back. Here he comes with the side stance, the lead with the left kick. Nice body kick by Waters.
Nice.
Taylor with a nice grab of the leg, and then he kicked out the other one, lands on top of him.
And I think Torrence found something. He went back to his corner, very experienced. You know, his brother, Taiwan Howard, says to him, listen, you had success in that half guard. Get him down, stay on top. I think that's one of the things that Taiwan may have been saying to him is, this is where we won the last part of that fight. Why not start there?
Sure. Waters right now is in a bad spot, and Taylor's just patiently chipping away at him. He knows he's got 4 minutes to work with. And here he is. Those punches are getting through. Those punches, they don't have a lot of steam on them, but they're hitting him in the face. They're getting through, and enough of those is going to really bother Tom the Bomb Waters.
So real quick story. So last year I went to Rome, and when I was in the National Museum of Rome, I took a picture of a Hellenistic sculpture dated to about 330 BCE. And I put it up on Facebook, and within 2 seconds, Torrence comments, oh, the boxer of Quirinal, I love Hellenistic art. I go, what? I go, you got to be kidding me. He is, you know, we talked earlier about somebody being a Renaissance man. Torrence just got his degree in economics from Cleveland State University. One of his big passions that he really likes to study is the ancient world, ancient Greece, Rome, etc. You know, the ancient Near East, so on and so forth. So, you know, here's a guy who's got incredible brawn up there, but he's also got the brains to go with it.
There you go. I know he was looking at a law school degree for a while. I don't know if that's something he's still going to pursue. Right now, he's pursuing punching Tom Waters in the face and doing a pretty good job of it.
Yep.
He's been able to hold this position for a good 2 minutes. Waters trying to move around north-south position here. Torrence again staying heavy on him, putting his body weight still in half guard, just switched over to the other side. Yep. Now he's going to attempt to use the right elbow to soften up Waters.
And he's doing a very good job. He's not letting Waters turn into him, which, well, there he goes. Waters did the right thing by turning into him, but right immediately Torrence has got his shoulder on his chin trying to flatten him out. And when Waters does the right thing by turning into him, he's met with an elbow.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Waters able to get half guard, but it has not stopped the elbows from Taylor from raining down on his face. There's another elbow. That one caught him. Another one. These are starting to get through, and they're starting to be delivered with more power. There's a cut. Tom Waters is bleeding above the right eye where one of those elbows caught him. Both these guys veterans of the sport. Great matchup put on here by the NAAFS.
And, you know, give a shout out real quick to Nicole Long. She has since taken over all the matchmaking duties for the NAAFS, and she has put on card after card of tremendous fights where she knows who's going to do what as far as, you know, their expertise level, and that's regardless of record. You know, we had Sarah TNT, oh, Torrence going for a key lock.
Key lock, and it's going to be, and he's got it. Tom Waters is in trouble here. Tom Waters is in a lot of trouble if Torrence can complete this.
He is.
If he could jump over to half or mount, now this.
I actually think Torrence needs to get that elbow on the ground and get to the other side.
He needs to pop over to half guard to the other side, move his left leg to the other side of Waters' body.
Yeah, because he's just too high on him. But right here, this is where we saw him against Shoney Carter, where he was able to go ahead and just really do damage. When he got on top of Shoney Carter, he holds his weight very, very well and then just uses those elbows combined with submission attempts and strikes to really do damage. And he's, again, going for that key lock. Don't think he quite has the technique on it.
The elbow's real high from Tom Waters.
Yeah.
This round has been 100% Taylor on top of Waters.
And what's he doing to us? You know, the guys from Gateway MMA or from, you know, you and I. What's this, Torrance being a ground guy? You trying to make us look bad?
There's some more elbows from Torrance. Punches, elbows.
And Jerry Chris, he's a referee up there.
10 seconds, and Taylor's pouring it on. There's a right that gets through, another right.
We're going to see round 3.
Waters resilient, hanging on at the end there. Two rounds in the books, and I presume, John, 2 rounds for Torrance Taylor.
I don't see how you could look at it any other way.
What does Waters need to do here? Obviously, we think he needs a finish, but how does he go about doing that, John?
Well, it appears he doesn't want to, as we take a look at a replay here of this key lock, and what you're going to see, his elbow is just too high.
What Torrance's elbow or Waters?
Waters' elbow's too high to finish the technique. And what he's doing right now is putting a tremendous strain on the shoulder, but he's not putting enough to cause a tap. If he could just get that down, what he really needed to do is have his weight right next to Waters' head. Too many people think it's far out. It's actually, you get the torque when it's next to the head. And when you pull that, then it's lights out. But hey, give props to Waters. I mean, he defended the position. Sometimes defending a submission, you don't have to do it ugly for it to be effective.
Torrance Taylor, red shorts, black trim. Tom Waters, white shorts, black trim. Blood trickling out of the nose of Waters, and a large...
And his hands down, and he's not throwing with a lot of velocity behind those kicks.
There's a large mouse underneath both of the eyes of Waters, and that's from the elbows of Torrance Taylor in round 2 there. There's a fake axe kick and a head kick that lands. Another one. And Tom Waters is in trouble.
And it's over. Good
Torrance
night.
Taylor is putting him out here.
See you later.
That's a KO from Torrance Taylor.
Torrance the Tyrant Taylor comes out, and he showed everything. What we said at the outset, the crazy kicks, the unbelievable power. But that second round, he comes out and puts on a grappling and jiu-jitsu display, making the rest of us look like we have no idea what we're talking about. Thanks a lot, Torrance.
Take a look here. You're going to see 2 head kicks in a row. Boom, there's one. You rarely see someone follow that up with another head kick, but look at Taylor.
And now watch what he does.
Boom.
Now, if this replay continues, he's going to look at the leg like he's going for a leg kick and then go right to the head. Boom. That is a seasoned veteran.
And the left hook is what caught him, and then from here, it's just pouring it on to finish this fight. Excellent job by Torrance, all-around effort there. Showed the ground, showed the stand-up, and particularly the head kick followed by the head kick, and then a left hook that put him down. Torrance Taylor played with us for 2 rounds. He showed a little of the ground game, and we're waiting for him to stand up and start throwing those devastating strikes from the feet, which he finally gave us.
Yes, finally. Made the fans at home during this pay-per-view and later on Sports Time Ohio and all across Canada as well with our new television contract. We made everybody wait to the 3rd round to see those head kicks.
But they were well worth it. And we send it up to Jazz for the official decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Jerry Chris has seen enough to stop this fight at 37 seconds of round number 3. Officially a technical knockout due to strikes. Your winner, Torrance the Tyrant Taylor.
I'm standing here with your winner, Torrance the Tyrant Taylor. Moves up to 11-7-1 overall. All right, we got a lot of questions because the fans here want to know what's going on with you. You graduated with your degree in economics from Cleveland State. Are you back fighting full-time now?
I'm back fighting full-time. I'm coming after NAAFS title, then Bellator, then UFC, whichever will have me first. I'm a champion, baby, coming after it. I'd like to thank everybody at Rising Dragon, Tawan Howard, Tony DePiro, Alonzo Harvey, thanks. I'd like to thank Wrestling Factory, especially Brian Gideon. Thanks, he had me up there. And Intimidation Clothing, thank you, size 911. Shit, it's one more. Oh, Mr. John P. Lennon, thank you so much. You're that one. Mr. John P. Lennon, the Lennon family, you guys are great. Thanks, Greg Kalikas, for having me back, baby. Woo!
All right, one final question for you. My partner Ryan Kavanaugh and I were talking about your crazy head kicks, the axe kicks, the spinning wheel kicks, all these things, and then the 2nd round you came out and decided to be a wrestler. What was that all about?
Well, I fought a guy named Glenn Brown, and it seems like whenever I get beat, it's always because somebody's a great wrestler, like Glenn Brown, like Joe Hyland. These guys, you know, they got great wrestling. So I had to go back and work on my wrestling for like a year and a half straight, and now my wrestling's a lot better. Plus, you know, everybody knows I'm a karate guy. I got the fancy kicks. Watch out for the kicks, baby. Axe kicks, spinning hook kicks, can't stop it. Much.
Hey, glad to have you back. Give it up for your winner, Torrance the Tyrant Taylor. More NAAFS cage fighting coming right up.
that wraps up another edition of NAAFS Cage Fighting. You said it at the top of the show about Torrance Taylor, and boy, did he give us everything we expected.
I think the thing that really blew me away was his wrestling tonight. He has given the division a whole new set of problems to think about. He looked great on the ground. Really impressed with Torrance tonight.
Speaking of the welterweight division, we'll see if down the road the champ, Kyle Baker, can get his rematch against Torrance Taylor because he beat him. Stay tuned for that and much more each and every week here on NAAFS Cage Fighting.